In this case study video, I'll be demonstrating how we were able to get 41 different event organizers to register their interest at working at a venue that we partner up with. The reason why this method is so effective and so important is because as a venue, having events in your calendar is so important. And one of the best ways to do that, of course, other than doing events yourselves, is through event organizers and promoters doing something at your venue. They pay your venue hire fee, and on top of that, they are also able to bring in their own community of customers that buy drinks. So this is one of the most effective ways to make more revenue as a venue, and this is one of the core strategies that we use for venues that we work with. So let's get straight into the video. Hope you enjoy.
Exactly how we were able to generate interest from 41 different event organizers that do events across England, and exactly how we do that for the venues that we work with from A to Z. So, hope you enjoy. Getting straight into it, if you are a venue owner that is looking to do ads, we recommend that you do it through the Meta Business Suite. There are different ways to do ads, such as through Instagram, you can boost a post, but it doesn't give you as many tools and as much information as, if I'm honest, as we'd like for someone like yourself to have, especially if you're a venue owner or a general manager. So we recommend going to your Facebook page for your venue, and then here you can see Meta Business Suite, and we recommend doing all of your advertising through Meta Business Suite as you have more tools at your disposal. But let's get straight into this case study. So we did an advertising campaign. We specialize in advertising campaigns that reaches out to event organizers that need venues. Ideally, the more the larger scale the event organizer, the more money that they're going to bring for a venue. So we tend to target national event organizers because if you know how to do an event across different cities, you have learned something. You have a scalable system that is able to get you crowds no matter where you go. So here you can see that we did the a campaign from the 24th of January to the 31st. We did it for a week. And here you can see that we were able to generate 41 different registered interests from event organizers. That's 41, and you can see that right here. And you can see here you have the list of all of them as we did forms that they could fill in if they're interested in the venue so that we can contact them, give them a call, and ask more about their event, and hopefully strike a deal with them at the venues that at the venues that they want, or the venue owner in question. So here you can see that right here. It is a very powerful tool. So the next thing is why. Why do we do this strategy? Why is it so effective? Well, if you compare it to selling tickets online, let's say you're doing an event at your venue and your capacity is 300 people. Typically what most people do, what most organizers, not organizers, when most venue owners or even social media managers will do is, as soon as the event drops there and the tickets are out, they will create an ad for the tickets. What we've seen is that only 3% of the market is ready to buy at any one given time. So you only have access to 3% of the market when you sell tickets to your venue. That is a very limited pool, because that means that 97% of the people will not buy a ticket at your venue, to your event at your venue on average, and you spend all that money just to target 3%. But what we've seen is, with the event organizer side of things, is that if you just target one event organizer and you end up closing a deal with one event organizer, and let's say you spent £100 in a week, but that event organizer now pays your venue hire and also brings in, let's say your venue of 300 people, they bring in 300 people, 250 people that buys, each person buys two drinks on average, spends £20 a head. You're all of a sudden you spent £100 and gotten thousands back. It's outsized return and a high level leverage of opportunity. So it's something that you want to take advantage right away. But let's get into specifically what we did and how we did it for this case study. So starting off, when you create a campaign, Meta will ask you what is the objective? What do you want to achieve from this? And as we know, for the purpose of this case study, we are targeting event organizers. We want to have a venue have a massive list of event organizers that are booking events throughout the year, paying for their venue hire fees and bringing in large groups of people for that are spending drinks on the bar. So that is essentially the overall campaign objective. And that is what we've selected here. As you can see here, there are different campaign objectives that you can select from different things, different industries. We're not going to get into the nuts and bolts, but for the purpose of this case study and purpose of the service, leads is what you're going to want to select when it asks you what is your campaign objective. You want to select leads, and that's exactly what we did. Then next, you want to choose your budget. We whenever we test, we like to test with minimum £100 over a week, and that's what we did. So here you can see the lifetime budget. We did £100 over the course of 7 days. Our bid strategy was highest volume, so we want to make sure that essentially the advert is being shown to as many times to people as possible. And that concludes pretty much the campaign setup. So the key things to take away is that when we set this up, we set it up for the campaign objective to be leads. We want to be able to collect information of people who are interested in our offer being the venue, and getting direct access to booking the venue. You know, one of the key things event organizers love is speed of being able to get into somewhere. And of course the budget, which is £100, and very important to know how much you're spending and how much you want to invest in that. Now let's move on. So after we've told Meta what objective we want to achieve, like what do we overarchingly, what do we want to achieve? So we want to get more event organizers interested in our venue. Okay, next, how are we going to go about that? So how are we going to go about contacting them? So here is where you select from the different options how you want to generate leads, essentially how you want to let contact, how do you want to converse, with your event organizers. There's many different ways to choose from, as you can see here. And from the different ones we've tested so far, the quickest and effective one we've seen so far is Instant Forms, and that's what we used. It's even recommended as well. It's really good because you can inside Facebook without having to go off Facebook or off Instagram. You can collect information, and the platform really loves that and will reward your ads by showing it to more people, because ultimately Facebook and Instagram is free. And one of the key reasons it's free is because they want to be able to keep your attention, so that people like yourselves and people like ourselves and marketers and advertisers, we can able to target them with good offers. The key thing is good offers. Terrible offers, you'll spend all that money and you'll get nothing from it. So we want good offers, and Facebook and Instagram will more likely to show your ads to more people if you're able to have a good ad, but also generate that response from them within the ad. And the really good thing about Instant Forms is that, if you remember, when you signed up to Instagram and Facebook, you've already put in your details. You've probably already put in your number. You put in your email. One of the greatest things about Instant Forms is that you can automatically, when it pops up, fill in your details without manually having to type it out. And one of the good things about that is that that increases conversion, because it's quite a simple concept. If it's more difficult to do, less people will do it. If it's less more difficult to do a certain action that you want your customer to do, less people will do it. If your payment processing is difficult for customers to pay for something, could be the ticket platform, there's a lot more steps, terrible. It's going to be difficult. One of the key things that makes Fatsoma, which is a ticket platform, really useful, is that within 2 clicks of clicking on a link for a ticket, people could buy. That is very effective. And then here, of course, we chose the page that we want to promote, which is the name of the venue. And then here we can select the date that we want it to start, date we want it to end. And then we also chose another key thing to notice is the audience. So lately, Meta came out with something called Advantage Plus. In the past, when we did this a few years back, even a year ago, we were having to manually put in what audiences we wanted, what are their interests, what are their behavior, what are their demographic, all these things, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. That can burn a lot. That burnt a lot of money, because we were in a massive stage of learning. But now, for someone that is brand new to this, that the Advantage Plus is a plus, because what it does is that when you create your ad and you publish it, the algorithm has so much data about what type of content people like, and it will now automatically, or through learning, it takes about 3-4 days for the algorithm to learn from your ad. It will now push it out to people for you. And right now we've seen that and we've used that recently and it's worked very effectively. We haven't seen a drop in performance, which is always good, but this is really, really, really a good tool for someone who is brand new to advertising to use Advantage Plus because it will find the audience for you and the algorithm has a lot of data. Location, we chose England because we're looking to for England event organizers doing stuff in England, should I say. And placements as well, we selected Advantage Plus as well. That basically means where do you want people, where do you want your ad to be shown? And we chose that because we believe that the algorithm knows best in where it wants people to see the ads. But saying that, one thing we always recommend excluding is audience networks. We don't have too much knowledge about audience networks and how that works. But if you are more confident on audience network by Meta and what that looks like, how that works, then please include it. But we recommend excluding that one place. But everything else we leave to Advantage Plus to do also. So, next, we want to talk about the advert itself. One thing we have noticed that works really well is having the start of is putting a lot of emphasis in the beginning of the ad, which is also called a hook. Essentially, what you want to do is the ads that we have seen that do the best personally is ads that start off that look very organic. So if you see this video here, you can see that it starts off with, just looking at the camera and it's just front facing. And if you think of the best ads that you've come across, the ones that you've enjoyed the most, the ones that you found entertaining or informative, or ones that doesn't feel like ads are the ones that feel organic. It feels like the message that comes across to you is organic. The way that you've received it feels organic, even if it's not. It will feel organic because Meta will always say that it's an ad, but the less things look like an ad, especially at the start, the more likely you are to get engagement because people don't like to be sold to, if we're just going to be honest. So we found it to be very, very useful to have a person that to look into the camera in some form of organic way. Like, oh, it looks like content that your friend could have posted when you're scrolling through. It looks like it could be on someone's story. Someone's just flipped the camera forward, and that holds their attention because they're like, oh, do I know this person? Is this an organic piece of content? Is this something I'm interested in? So that's a piece of advice there. And then of course, a lot of the time we see venues will just do a venue walkthrough or they'll just do a poster. We've tested that before, and from what we've seen, and especially for this case study, we split tested many different styles of types of ads from, like I said, posters, venue walkthroughs, and this type has been the most effective so far. Something with a person at the beginning talking about the venue, calling out the right customers, hey, event organizers, this is for you, then going through a venue walkthrough, and then ending with the person as well. So that format is what we did, and it was as we saw was very effective to generate a lot of interest from different event organizers. So now let's move on to another vital bit. The next bit we're going to talk about is the form. So we've told Meta what is the overall objective. We've told it how we want to go around it. We've told it what we want the customers, the leads, the event organizers to see. Now let's tell them what information do we want to collect and how do we want to collect it. About is the form for the ad. So when you set up an Insta form, Meta will ask you to, well, yeah, set it up. That means adding in the questions you want to ask them. So what information you want to collect and the visuals that go along with that. So let's dive straight into it. The reason you want to make sure that the overall arching theme is you want to make sure that the form is coherent with the overall theme of your ad creative, whether that's a image or a video. And number two, you want to make sure that when an event organizer comes across your form, it screams out, "This is for you." So how have we done that? That's the main thing we want to tackle. How does it scream, "This is for you," when it comes to our ideal customer? So if we pay attention first to the background of the imaging, you've got a club here, what looks like to be a festival here, a dance floor here. So this is overall in the theme of hospitality and it's overall in the theme of venues. Next, we've got the title here. So host events across different cities in England. So this calls out the ideal customer. So in their head, we want them to think, we want to ask a question that in their head they say, yes, that's me. So it could be anything. Host events across different areas in Essex. Are you a London event organizer? We want the first thing that they see to be a question that makes them answer and say yes. And that is what we did. Then next we have the title of the form as well. So venue booking accelerator. The reason we call it that because it's simple, it's easy to understand. Venue booking. So okay, that's if I'm an event organizer, I know this is about booking a venue and accelerator. So that means in booking venues in a fast way. Over the last 7 years, we've spoken to 900 event organizers one on one, and one of the top pains is having to constantly wait around for venues to respond to them. That's one of the biggest things that they hate. So if we're here saying that you're going to get quick responses, one of your biggest pain points is going to be solved, they're a lot more likely to pay attention and they're more likely to be influenced to put in their information. So that's that one. Moving on, Meta will then ask you what contact information you want to collect. We collected the full name and number because what we like to do as part of our service is that we actually call. We prioritize calling and having real human conversations with the event organizers that end up filling in information for whatever venue client that we're working with at the time, and so that we can speed up the process. I would say that if you want, sometimes you might want to add a bit more. If for your own venue, it's up to you, of course. If you need more information, if there's more restrictions, you want to be a lot more selective with who you want. That's fine because the more questions you add, the less leads that you're going to get, but the higher quality of leads that you're going to have. Then here you can submit your privacy policy, which I'm guessing will be on your website. So just all you have to do when Meta asks this is just copy it and paste it in. And that's that bit there. Not much to really cover. And then finally, very importantly, we have the end page. So after they've submitted their information, this is the page that they see. So we added, thanks, you're all set. We'll be in touch soon. In the meantime, if you need to talk sooner, give us a call now. That bit is very, very important. And that was one of the things that really helped us get a lot of results from this because if they were in a lot of pain, we gave them the option to call us now. And at the end of the day, speed time kills deals. So that means that the quicker you're able to solve that you're able to contact them when they have registered interest, then the more likely you are to get them to act because their motivation is at the highest when they've acted. So and we'll get a bit more into that later, but that's why we found it very useful to have a call now button. And what we did is we attached our phone number to this. Meta will ask you what action, like where do you want them to go up next, and we put in the phone number, our phone number, which they can call us straight away, which helps speed up the process for everyone. Another question that we tend to get is about where forms go, is where the actual forms that are filled in, where they go. And once someone fills in a form and their contact information is collected, Facebook will store it on Lead Center. They have a tool called Lead Center, which you can go through your Meta Business Suite. Go if you click All Tools, you'll be able to find the Lead Center, and that's where it's all stored. But what we did for the venues that we work with is we have what we call a CRM setup specifically for these ads, and we use something called Privia. It's a software tool that you can pay monthly for. We're not affiliated with them in terms of sponsorship or anything. So they don't sponsor this video or anything. We generally use them and we find them really really useful. So basically, what this means is that as soon as someone is able to as soon as someone's able to fill in the form on Meta, you will get a notification on your phone, which is really great because you can call them straight away. And one of the key things about the success of this strategy is if you're able to contact someone as soon as as soon as they fill that information, they've watched your ad, they've clicked the form, they fill their information, then you will have a much higher likelihood of getting something from that conversation. Whether that's that deal going ahead, whether that's getting them down to view it, you will get that going ahead a lot more if you're able to contact them sooner when they fill in the form. So we use this right here and something that we recommend as well. That concludes our case study of how we're able to generate 41 leads of event organizers who want to do events at venues. Um, if you are a venue owner or someone who manages a venue and you want us to be able to show you in a bit more depth on how we do it, also talk about how we're able to follow up with those people that show interest, which is also very important. That's the other half of the equation. Then feel free to set up a time with us where we can give you a free consultation on your venue. And if it is something that you like and something that works for your business, then we can talk about it later. So set a time with us below on the link, and we'll set up a conversation so that we can talk about your venue and see what we can do to help. Thank you.
So that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want us to help out with your venue and getting more events booked in your diary from event organizers that do things across, your local town, local city, across England, then click the link below, book a time with us, and we'll have a chat with you to see what we can do for you.